Well, good morning, everybody. We're definitely blessed to be here on a perfect August day in the District of Columbia. I want to recognize all the employees of the District of Columbia. Raise your hands if you work for DC government. All right, give them a big round of applause for their hard work every single day for the residents of the District of Columbia. I want to recognize one of our dear friends and partners in the federal government. I can't really recount all the great things that Sean Garvin has done in support of the residents of the District of Columbia and making sure that we have clean air, clean waterways, and that we are building a sustainable DC. So I want to thank Sean, the Obama administration, for all of their hard work. Sean Garvin, thank you very much. Give Sean a big round of applause. And I want to recognize our director of the Department of the Environment and my friend from Ward 6, now focused on all 8 wards, Tommy Wells. Give him a big round of applause. And the new champion for Ward 6 on the Council of the District of Columbia, Charles Allen, council member, thank you for being here. And also Mark Chambers from our Department of General Services, who you will hear from in a few minutes. Give Mark a big round of applause. So we're at our Reeves Center at the very top, and this is, if you didn't know, a 4,000 square foot green roof. It was installed in 2007 to lower energy costs, train young people for green jobs, and make DC a healthier city. We wanted to make sure that when we made these wonderful announcements today, that we invited our friends from all over the District of Columbia and especially our ANC commissioners. And I think we've been joined by a few of them as well. Commissioner William Kennedy Smith is here. Thanks, Commissioner, for being here. Commissioner Daryl Gaston is here. Commissioner Cedric Muhammad is here. And we also want to recognize the leader of our DC SCU, Ted Trabue. Where's Ted? You're right in front of me. And Jim Doherty from the Sierra Club. There's Jim. And we want to thank them for their support and leadership. So while we're at a green roof today, we want to recognize many ways that Washington, D.C. is leading the nation in creating affordable green energy. In fact, for 4 years running, the EPA has recognized D.C. as the #1 green power community in the country. That's good. That's good news. We're here today to show our full support for President Obama's Clean Power Plan. The District of Columbia is not a city that denies the facts or the science, and we're committed to making sure that we have a green future for our residents, but indeed to show the entire nation how to do it. We know that climate change is real and climate change is now, and it's our responsibility to do something about it. We're moving aggressively to reduce carbon pollution. We support green building. We promote energy and water efficiency and fostering renewables in our city. So we've committed to a few bold goals. We will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2032 and 80% by 2050. And some of us are still going to be around for those dates. As part of our effort to go green, my administration recently announced a very significant, groundbreaking wind power purchase agreement with Iberdrola Renewables. I knew I was going to get that kind of right. So I want to thank Mark Chambers and the entire DGS team. Let's hear it for DGS. This groundbreaking initiative went into effect on August 1st and will supply 35% of the district government's electricity needs for the next 20 years. This deal puts people first as well. It saves us, the taxpayers, $45 million over the course of 20 years. It reduces our carbon footprint by removing roughly 100 tons of carbon pollution. And that's 17% of our total government emissions, the equivalent of taking 125,000 cars off the road. So we're going to save taxpayers money, we're going to make our air cleaner, and we're going to make D.C. a better place for future generations. So I have another announcement to make today. So we're talking about energy and the importance that planning for energy means for us now and for future generations. And we want to make sure the organization and focus of our government reflects that commitment. So today I'm proud to announce that the district's Department of the Environment will now be known as the district's Department of Energy and the Environment. So I've asked Tommy, Director Wells, to rethink how we bring green and affordable energy to all 8 wards in the District of Columbia. So we will use public-private policy to drive our investments. We will bring solar power to low-income families, and we will make creative investments that increase access to clean energy and improve air quality. These initiatives will create jobs right here at home and put D.C. government residents to work. So today is just a start. So we will focus, we will share what we've learned with our friends from around the nation, and we will make an example of this great DC Wind Power project. So let me now introduce our friend in the federal government, Sean Garvin, to say a few words.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's really a pleasure to be here. I have known the mayor for many, many years. We won't get into how many years, and we both have held different positions along the way. But what I can tell you about Mayor Bowser is she has been a leader for people since the time I met her, and I think it predated even being an ANC chair at the time. She really cares about the people of the District of Columbia, and everything and every decision she makes really is about the people that she represents. And so it's really a pleasure to work with a leader whose sole focus is making sure that the people that they represent, they're taken care of. And so thank you very much for that. The mayor also pointed out that it was a gorgeous weather day in the district. She also reminds me that every day is a beautiful day in the District of Columbia, so it's always great to be here. I want to recognize Director Wells, who I've also known for a very long time in a number of positions, for his leadership on the environment, for Assistant Director Chambers, for council members, ANC chairs. Thank you very much for your leadership. I really want to congratulate the mayor and district government on their historic agreement, which once again demonstrates the district's leadership on reducing greenhouse gases and improving our air quality. It is also not surprising that the district is adding energy to the name of the Department of Environment, because so many of the environmental challenges that we face today link directly back to how we approach the generation, consumption, and conservation of energy. With more than 1 billion kilowatt hours of green power used by residents, businesses, and government entities annually, the district is the largest green power community in the United States. Much of DC's success in this endeavor can be attributed to the understanding of power of public-private partnerships for producing positive results. As the mayor commented, I was honored to have attended this past March a ceremony recognizing the district for having the most Energy Star certified buildings in the United States, with 480 buildings being certified. As you know, energy consumption in our buildings is one of the leading contributors to carbon pollution that leads to climate change. Because science tells us that climate change is real and that human activities are fueling that change, These are the kinds of investments that we need to make to avoid the devastating impacts of climate change. Earlier this summer, EPA released a report called Climate Change in the United States: Benefits of Global Action. That, for the first time, takes a sector-by-sector look at our economy to see what the United States gains if the world takes action on climate change. The benefits of this actions are staggering. We save $5 trillion, or nearly one-third of U.S. gross domestic product between now and 2100 if we take global action preventing catastrophic sea level rise and storm surge. If we fail to act, just the opposite will occur. President Obama knows what's at stake, which is why he has made climate change a major national priority. Last week, EPA provided a crucial piece of the puzzle when we finalized our Clean Power Plan to cut carbon pollution from power plants, our nation's largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. Thank you. Nationwide, by 2030, the Clean Power Plan will cut carbon emissions from power plants by 32% below 2005 levels. It will also cut hundreds of thousands of tons of harmful particulate pollution, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides by 2030, providing Americans with billions of dollars in public health benefits. Because these pollutants can create dangerous soot and smog, these reductions mean we'll avoid thousands of premature deaths, asthma attacks, and hospitalizations. The Clean Power Plan will also make our economy stronger by turning climate challenges into economic opportunities and sending a strong long-term market signal that a transition to lower carbon future is inevitable. For example, since President Obama took office, our use of wind power has tripled, while solar has increased 20 times over. Solar jobs are growing faster than any other sector in the American economy, and these are good-paying jobs that cannot be shipped overseas. By using cleaner energy sources and cutting waste, we can spur innovation and unleash investments that will build the modern 21st century power sector that creates jobs, bolsters our energy security, and cuts carbon pollution and supports competitiveness, all while saving Americans money. We know that no single step can reverse the effects of climate change, but together our collective actions can and are making a substantial difference. I have no doubt that the District of Columbia will remain at the forefront in leading America in the clean energy economy and sustainable future. The approach that the Mayor outlined today represents a significant step forward that will show the rest of the nation what is possible. I look forward to working with the new Department of Energy and Environment because climate change is a challenge that we need to conquer together, and it's our moral obligation. Thank you.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking about our moral obligation and climate change in just a few weeks when the Pope visits us as well. And we're going to have a good story to share with him. And so now it's my pleasure to introduce Barrett Stambler from Iberdrola, who will talk about our agreement.
Good morning. Mayor, City Council members, distinguished guests, and the esteemed citizens of the District of Columbia. Iberdrola Renewables is the largest owner and operator of renewable facilities in the world. And in the U.S. alone, we have nearly 60 utility-scale renewable projects. So let me say I've been to cornfields, ranches, ridge lines, wheat fields, and dairy farms to visit our renewable projects. But this is the first time I've celebrated on a roof. Yay! So thank you. We're here to celebrate the environmental and energy leadership of the Mayor and the District of Columbia and the Department of General Services. As you know, we negotiated a groundbreaking agreement with the District of Columbia recently. I did want to thank Mark Chambers of the Department of General Services and Kevin Helmick of my team, who really did all the hard work, and I'm up here taking the credit, okay? but I'm happy to do so. One thing that makes this a personal event is that, believe it or not, 35 years ago, I started my career in Washington, D.C. as a lobbyist for a group called the Solar Lobby, a public interest group working for the development of a solar and renewable energy world. And at that time, there was not a single significant utility scale facility. So I could only dream at that time of what we've accomplished. And the other thing of note is that in my time, 5 years in Washington, D.C., and my wife and I love this city, I actually worked for the D.C. Department of Energy, working on a low-income weatherization program. So I'm proud of that, and I've learned a lot. On behalf of Iberdrola Renewables, the largest operator of generation in the world, we are excited to join with the City of Washington, D.C. to announce the execution of a power purchase agreement to bring the benefits of clean, affordable, renewable energy to the people of Washington, D.C. The leadership shown by Mayor Bowser in supporting the approval of this 20-year agreement means that the energy and renewable credits generated by the 46-megawatt South Chestnut Wind Farm located in southwestern Pennsylvania will be sold to the Department of General Services at a fixed contract price through 2036. When you're dealing with fossil fuels, you cannot provide a fixed contract price because you really don't know what the cost of your fossil fuels will be. And that is one of the greatest benefits of renewable energy. In a sense, it's like a fixed rate mortgage versus a variable rate mortgage. This will supply Washington, D.C. with approximately 125,000 megawatt hours of emission-free electricity every year, the equivalent electricity needed to power 12,000 district homes annually. We can do a deal like this, as I said, because the price of wind is the same today as it will be 20 years from now. And that price certainty is an asset that the district can profit from. The commitment by the mayor and the city council to clean energy generation is an example for other cities to follow as we address the growing climate change challenges of climate change. Long-term partnerships such as this one provide companies like Iberdrola Renewables the opportunity to continue to build wind farms like South Chestnut, bringing additional renewable resources online as we shift away from fossil fuels to embrace non-polluting sources of energy. The unique nature of this agreement allows the district to lock in the cost for over a third of its energy needs, bringing economic savings and stability while also making substantial progress on meeting its sustainable DC goals of meeting 50% of its energy needs with renewable energy by 2032. While some cities operate their own municipal utilities, District of Columbia is unique in making this voluntary purchase through the Department of General Services to directly purchase wind energy to meet the needs of schools, fire stations, and other government buildings of the district. That's a partnership we're incredibly proud of. We applaud the continued efforts of the city to commit to renewable energy and to bring benefits to the people of Washington, D.C. We look forward to a long and mutually beneficial relationship as we generate the wind energy from South Chestnut. Thank you for inviting us to be a part of this morning's event.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
One last thing. It's with great pleasure. This is a flag of the District of Columbia. On July 31st, Mark Chambers of Department of General Services and Iberdrola Renewables flew this flag over on top of a wind turbine at the South Chestnut facility. And it's with great pleasure that I award it to the mayor for your great work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Mark Chambers, the flag flyer, and really the pusher of this initiative across our government. So we know when we have a big bureaucracy, and it's a lot of us, and sometimes it's hard to change thinking. And when we can say that we have a groundbreaking initiative that is going to affect us for the next 20 years in a very good way, and I love the way you describe it, a fixed rate mortgage on 35% of our power. That's important. So when you're a city that's growing as fast as ours is, we have to figure out how to save just to keep pace, right? So if we're not saving, then we're actually going backwards, and we need more innovative ideas and thinking. So, Mark, congratulations, and please come up and talk a little bit more about our deal.
So thank you, Mayor Bowser, and thank you, Barrett. Good morning. My name is Mark Chambers. I direct sustainability and energy management for the DC Department of General Services, DGS. Here, our small but very, very passionate sustainability and energy team oversees the policy and strategic implementation of conservation efforts, most notably energy, across the 30 million square feet of real estate managed by the district. We are extremely proud of our city today. The mayor has encouraged us to be bold. I mean, and she just said, this DC is not a city that is in denial about the climate crisis. This wind power purchase agreement demonstrates that. This wind purchase agreement demonstrates that our district is putting those words into definitive action. Our partnership with Iberdrola at South Chestnut is really the culmination of a very sophisticated, intentional, and transparent process. When we started this, we went out to kind of make this deal and go out to the renewable market. We approached it with three overarching main goals. One, reduce the DC government costs of electricity on behalf of the district taxpayers. Two, engage in a sensible, long-term hedge against the notorious volatility and scarcity of power based on fossil fuels. And third, to demonstrate leadership. Leadership in greenhouse gas emissions reduction, leadership in environmental stewardship, both critical, fundamental pillars needed to catalyze a local green economy. Well, we received, I want to say, a little bit over 30 responses, totaling over 1,000 megawatts in solar and wind proposed projects, which is a lot, FYI, it's a whole lot. And I only mention this because the overwhelming number of responses clearly indicates that there is a great opportunity and demand for municipal clients, particularly cities, in the emerging renewable market. And we couldn't be happier with the outcome and with the long-term partnership with Iberdrola Renewables. And we're also excited to lead other cities to prioritize climate response by taking control, and active control of their energy purchasing power. Now, this is the part where typically I would kind of geek out a little bit on all the associated things that go along with this project. There's advanced metering infrastructure, big data, cloud-based predictive optimization energy software, all like amazing things that sadly I'm not going to talk about right now. But I will say this, aggressively buying and deploying renewable power supply is really just the first step. That's why the mayor has charged DGS with continuously implementing solutions that increase the energy efficiency of our buildings and operations. Because keep in mind, with a modest, about 2.5% increase in the efficiency across all government buildings, this same singular 35% wind purchase agreement that we are heralding today, over the course of the lifetime of the agreement, could actually become the district's 50% by 2032 sustainability goal, all by itself. And I think that's another reason why this is so exciting, and it's also so pivotal in the story arc of our city's future. So again, On behalf of DGS, on behalf of the Sustainability and Energy team, and particularly Zach Doppelbauer, who worked tirelessly on this, I would like to thank the mayor for her continued leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. So sometimes we don't think about all the buildings that we own. Reeves Center, municipal building, libraries, recreation centers, pools, fire stations, police stations. These are all of the facilities that make sure that we have a great quality of life in the district, and that we are doing everything that we can to reflect the values of the District of Columbia in those buildings. So some would even seek to question whether investing in green building is a good investment. And I think that we demonstrate today that indeed is a good investment for now, but also for generations to come. And so I'm very thrilled now to introduce, to say a few words, our Director of the Department of Energy and the Environment, Tommy Wells.
Thank you. That sounded good. Department of Energy and the Environment. Well, thank you, Mayor. And I think today reminds us again that to Muriel Bowser, green is not just a color. It's a way to lead. So thank you very much. And also want to acknowledge, of course, Sean Garvin. Sean, you've been a great partner to the district and have been a big help to me coming into this position. But also I know you're going to be with us again on Friday when we look at a stormwater retrofit in our public realm. So thank you very much for all that you do to help us. And then to acknowledge the leadership at DGS with Mark and all the staff at DGS, where you're working every day to make our buildings greener and being more responsible, and really a leadership and a model for the rest of the city, and thank you very much for that. And also to acknowledge my council member, Charles Allen, who is here with his rockstar staff. Thank you, Charles. I know that you serve on the committee for this, and that this is very important to you and important to the citizens, not of just Ward 6, but for the city. And I also have to acknowledge the staff, not of DDOE, but now the staff of DOEE. You guys are here. Raise your hands. Thank you for the work that you do every day. I was just telling the mayor and Sean Garvin that we've got the best Department of Energy and the Environment staff in the country. That's why we're leading the nation. And so thank you for what you do every day. I'm very proud of all of you. Now more than ever, it's a critical time for the district to show leadership in energy for our residents and our businesses. That's why I'm proud to support Mayor Bowser's redesignation of the Department of the Environment to the Department of Energy and the Environment. And as we look across the city, this is such a great venue. We see all the opportunities for more solar arrays, more green roofs, more roofs that have reflective paint. We've got a lot of work to do, and this is a great venue to see it from, but also the green roof right here. It all works together. So we've hit the ground running. We have a unique resource in the DC Sustainable Energy Utility, which helps us to meet our goals of increased energy efficiency and clean, renewable power. And I want to recognize DCSEU's Managing Director, Ted Trabue, who works really to make us a leader in the nation. Ted, thank you very much. Through a contract with our agency, the SEU has worked with hundreds of commercial customers to find energy-efficient lighting solutions, providing technical assistance and rebates. With their help, we are right on target to meet our first-year goal of providing free solar systems to 130 low-income families in just 250 days. That's a fresh start. We are utilizing solar power to help residents across the district lower their power bills while we're increasing the amount of electricity we draw from renewable resources to help protect the future of our planet. We will soon be rolling out a plan for investing $6 million more collected this year from our Renewable Energy Development Fund to help low-income and fixed-income residents without viable roofs gain access to solar power through the National Community Solar Partnership. We are helping lower financial barriers and expanding renewable energy access to district-based small businesses through innovative policy-driven public-private investment. As Mayor Bowser said very early in the administration, what's good for the environment is good for our economy. The District of Columbia and our regional partners are leading the nation in crafting a responsible environmental future. We're number one, as Sean noted, in Energy Star buildings of any metro area. We're leading the nation in green power purchases, comprising more than 13% of all electricity sold in the city, and the district is number one in LEED certified square footage per building. Very proud of our leadership. We have further to go, and thank you, Mayor, for your leadership to see that we get there.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Tommy, before you sit down, and Mark, please, and Ibadrola, we'll take a few on-topic questions, and then I'll take a few others. Tom.
Mayor, if this program is so good for 35% of the energy, why not all of it? Why not 100%?
I'm glad you asked that question. That's certainly a question that that our agency has pressed on, and we want to get some experience under our belt. But I'm going to ask Mark to talk a little bit more about how we arrived at the balance at 35% and how we can push harder. Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess if you think about it as any terms of any kind of financial investment. We really wanted to understand a little bit more about how the market worked before we went fully in. 35% was a sensible long-term investment for the city to make. Now, as we continue to increase our efforts in energy efficiency, again, that 35% will become a larger portion of our actual purchase. And so for us, it's just essential that we look at this in a holistic pathway. And also, it's still a substantial and the largest power purchase agreement that a singular city has ever done in the U.S.
Just to be clear, though, the 35% is for the 20-year period. If you find the city can go up to 50 or 55% during that 20-year period, you will pay more, or how will that work? Or is it set for 20 years like that mortgage?
So it's 35% of our power usage right now. As our power usage goes down and our demand goes down because of energy efficiency, the percentage of the demand that this purchase covers will increase.
At the same cost?
Yes.
Yes, and please introduce yourself.
My name is Josh Foutsett. I work for the Daily Poly News Foundation. You mentioned energy and renewable credits as part of this purchase power agreement. Can you describe exactly what that means?
They can't hear you.
You said you talked about energy and renewable credits as part of the purchase power agreement. Can you just describe what that exactly is?
Sure, Mark, you want to talk about the credits? Mark?
Yeah, sure. Basically, whenever there is a power purchase, there's the ability to have purchase the generation of power in addition to the environmental attributes, which we call RECs or credits. In this particular power purchase agreement, we are purchasing both the generation and the RECs that come along with it.
How much of it is made up of power that the city would not actually be using itself? Like in terms of credits, how much of the agreement is made up of credits?
It's 100% of the agreement. It's the power that purchased out of the farm in addition to the environmental attributes that come along with that purchase.
Is the city actually using this power that they're buying?
Yes.
So they're shipping it down here from Pennsylvania?
Well, so virtually, yes. I mean, there's a large grid that extends from the Atlantic Ocean to Illinois and from Pennsylvania down to Tennessee called the PJM that, the wind power from Pennsylvania goes onto the grid, and we pull power off of the grid here.
Can I add one thing on that? The District of Columbia is actually is probably the greenest product you can buy. The fact that you can sometimes buy your renewable energy credits, you can sell your energy and you can sell your renewable energy credits. We're actually serving their provider directly, so it's going directly to the District of Columbia. So it's the greenest product you can buy that they're buying.
Okay. I just challenged Mark to, in 30 seconds, talk about the physical steps that gets from start to finish, really. So from Pennsylvania to this building. How about that? You do it in 30 seconds?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so I mentioned there's this giant network, this PJM grid that we happen to be a part of in the Northeast. Where power is generated, in particular, in this case, South Chestnut in Lafayette County, the power that the windmills generate goes from that particular source to a substation in which it then enters into the grid, the large grid that extends across 13 states. The District of Columbia pulls power off of that grid here. So when we plug in our computers and our microwaves here, all of that is pulling power off of the local grid that extends across multiple states. So it's not an extension cord, but it is. There are pluses when power dumps onto the grid and minuses when power pulls off the grid.
47 seconds.
47. Next time he'll have it down to 30. Yes, Abigail. And then I'll go to you, sir.
How much did the district have to invest at the outset of this project? How much will they have to put into it in 2016?
Okay, great question. Initial upfront investment. Let me start with Mark, and then we'll go to Iberdrola.
So, the initial investment for us is really time and learning. We put in a lot of energy to be able to understand the market and to be able to actually take part in it. But outside of that, the agreement is for us to buy the power produced from the wind farm. So it's not an upfront capital investment in terms of the wind. Yeah. So, and with the procurement strategy, similar to a lot of other RFPs that the city will engage in, we did a public RFP that went out to the entire community, and again, we received a tremendous response. But what it basically came down to were different developers that had either solar or wind renewable projects responded to the RFP with their site or their proposed project, and we evaluated all of those to be able to shortlist and then ultimately partner with Iberdrola Renewables.
Okay, the gentleman here.
Chris Carlo with WNEW. The question I have is about the changeover from DDOE to DOEE. Is there going to be a changeover in responsibilities as well to kind of match up with the name change?
Well, Tommy certainly has spent, Director Wells has spent the last 6 months really evaluating any changes that need to happen at the department. He really focused on looking at the budget and how much, in fact, of that budget is dedicated to energy and finding renewables in the city. What is, I think, important is that he will continue to evaluate that, but he believes all the change in emphasis can be accommodated with current staffing. But let me ask Tommy to address that.
Actually, what today recognizes is that the Department of the Environment has evolved into the Department of Environment, but also half of our budget is also energy. The role of local government and energy used to be providing assistance to people on low income that couldn't meet their energy bills. Now the role of local government is, as Sean Garvin talked about and the mayor's talked about, is really charting a future for a city like ours of where will our power come from. As we look across the city and the solar panels just across the way, we're generating power on top of our buildings where we used to just pull it off of the grid. So it really charts the course for the fact that we have already substantially changed the role of city government in energy policy, energy development, energy investment. So the name change reflects where we are today, and it's just a more realistic view of the department that I lead.
Okay, Tom.
Mayor, is there any LSDBE subcontractor or contractor involved in this project, either on the company side or the city side?
Okay, Mark, can you address that? How the contract meets our requirements?
Mm-hmm. So the actual CBE requirements you mentioned were a part of the RFP proposal. This project in particular, being outside of the district, does not, I guess, in the sense, meet those typical obligations. But we included in the project a component which would allow for a lot of community investment, as well as the potential for Iberdrola on our behalf to invest locally and potentially create more of the market where there could be more local participation.
So there's no requirement for the larger firm to hire local partners, but to make just community investments.
So keep in mind, this is when we're talking about other power purchase agreements, like potentially solar, that is where there's a little bit more of a local aspect. But because of the fact that this is remote in terms of where wind actually blows, it is outside of the typical DC environment.
Okay. Yes, Abigail.
Can you walk us through just sort of what impact DC residents are going to be feeling in terms of their monthly electric bills? And this is, so as of August 1st, 35% of the electricity needs are already being met by the wind turbines.
What's your question about? Okay, there are two questions. Give them to me again.
So the 35%, that kicked in on August 1st, or when will that kick in? When will that be in place? And then how will ordinary residents feel that in terms of their electricity bills?
I don't think there are any impact on individual electricity bills because the 35% affects our government purchase. The impact on the taxpayer, however, we have noted as $45 million over 20 years. So if there is some, I'm trying to figure out if there would be some impact of us pulling our usage off the grid, if that would have a long-term impact on the individual ratepayer. Is that kind of where you're going with that? Okay, I don't know the answer to that question right now. So let's see if there is an impact on the individual ratepayer. The other question is 35% started on August 1st? Yes, 35% started on August 1st. Okay, are there any general questions? Tom?
Sorry, I'm asking too many questions. I apologize. My editors wanted me to ask, though, about the serious subject of violent crime. There continues to be a great deal of violent crime, continues to be worries about synthetic drugs. Your general thought, you were away last week, but you stayed in touch. You see how bad the problem is. Anything new you can say about this?
Well, we convened, again, our public safety officials and federal partners just this week, along with our human services agencies, kind of in our CAPSTAT model to talk about additional things that we can do around violent crime, and we've come up with some additional strategies that we're pushing hard on. I participated in a strategy that's been in place, I believe, since 2007, with, again, the police and federal partners around gun crimes called GunStat, where we follow particular gun offenders in the District of Columbia. So that's another strategy that we intend to make more robust to follow. And we are very, very concerned. I also follow with the chief the closures that we have had around homicides in the District of Columbia to make sure that the message is loud and clear. You commit heinous crimes in the District of Columbia, you will meet justice. And so the chief and the detectives continue to make arrests. Those charges continue to go to our U.S. attorney and our bench to make sure that appropriate charges are being filed. We also continue to ask for the public's help. A lot of the crimes that we've seen that have involved guns and homicide happen in communities, and we want people to come forward with information, any information that could lead to making those communities safer. We offer in the District of Columbia a $25,000 reward for information leading to arrest in the case of homicide. And we want people to take advantage of coming to the police, making anonymous tips if they like, to help us solve these crimes. Yes, sir.
Burns with WMAL Radio. Understand your thinking has shifted a bit in terms of the privacy of police body camera footage. Take us through your thought process there in terms of why footage that's filmed in a private place should not be allowed under FOIA.
Well, my philosophy about this is unchanged, and that is we want body cameras on all of our patrol officers. And we want it for this reason. We want accountability. We want our officers to be held accountable. We want members of the public to be assured that they're being held accountable. It protects us as citizens. It protects the police. And we think that it will help us get to the bottom of any problem. I also don't want body cameras to deter people from calling the police, which has been a huge concern of mine as well. So imagine this. You need the police, your most vulnerable moment. You call the police into your home, and then you see it on the evening news. And that may teach the next person a lesson that they don't want to call the police and have the police in their home. So the third principle that I've also been concerned about is how can we, if we get this information, not be unable to get the footage out to the public in a meaningful way. So what we are considering that we have circulated internally for discussion is how we address all of those issues. So we are, of course, considering making sure that the information that's needed by the public is made available to the public. So there are a couple things under consideration inside private. That we would not make those automatically FOIAble. The information would still be available to involve parties. It would be available to investigative agencies, but it would not just be available for those merely interested. The second group is if something happens out on the street where people don't have the same expectation of privacy, and making that footage, if requested, specific date, time, location available by FOIA, and continuing to be available for interested parties. And everybody should be assured that that I would always have the ability to say if something meets the public's interest, significant public interest, whether inside or out. Other press questions? All right, I see it. Yes, sir.
Bill from the Current.
You gotta be louder.
What areas count as private under the body cam proposal? Is a sports stadium private? Is a home private?
Like as I said, we're circulating an internal memo. We expect when the council comes back to introduce legislation that's specific.
A separate question is there about our hair speaking tall.
You got to speak up.
How synthetic marijuana was a big contributor to the uptick in crime. You know, is that still the big reason, do you think, for the summer crime surge?
Well, I talked about synthetic drugs. I almost never call it synthetic marijuana, and I would encourage you not to call it that either, because it's nothing like marijuana. We know that these drugs produce really psychotic effects. We know that they are causing people to act in very irrational ways, violent ways. And so that's it. And so we know that synthetic drug use is a problem that we're concerned about. And what was your question?
Is that a major contributor, do you think?
It's a contributor. I think that we don't do ourselves any good in saying this percent is, nobody can say that. What we can say is we don't want people using synthetic drugs. It's causing significant health effects. It's causing a big impact on our fire and emergency medical service to respond to calls for synthetic drug overdoses. And it's putting a significant strain on all of our infrastructure. And we want it to be very clear to all people that this is a dangerous, dangerous substance and that they shouldn't be using it. Yes.
Real quick, we know the Obama administration is starting to sort of offload federal properties within the district and reduce the footprint program that's been in place since last March. What would that mean if more federal properties are now becoming taxable for the district and might be getting more income in that sense?
Good question.
More taxable income from properties that used to be federal.
Well, it's awesome. So I have a few that I'm interested in. One is RFK. Several of them are golf courses. Another one is the Webster School. Others are Pennsylvania Avenue, Franklin Park. Shall I go on? So yeah, we want our property back.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. I have one community question. Robin.
Well, first I want to say...
Come up, Robin, so I can hear you.
First, I just want to say thank you. That's great stuff. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You may know that in Oslo, Norway, they created a butterfly highway linking parks and green roofs in such a way that the butterflies can follow them. Do you think that's something we could do here? And I'm asking on behalf of the DuPont Circle Citizens Association, which has been growing milkweed extensively in the neighborhood.
Why don't you brief me a little bit more on the butterfly highway and see if it's something that's feasible for us. Okay, thank you, everybody. And then let me just ask the staff who's here, if we haven't had a chance to shake hands and say hi, I'm going to be here for a few minutes, so please come this way and tell me what you're up to. Thank you.